chance out in front. Aho, as Jarvis almost making the same play he made last night in Detroit with this flick out in front and the chance, and that'll be deflected over the glass into the netting. That one gets through Andersen. Morgan Geekie continues his great season for Boston. His 28th of the year.
Wow, that's a no-no goal.
In front, and a chance at Swayman. Robs Hall. Oh, that got it for Gostisbehere. Working around. Morrow with a chance. Robida, he scores! Justin Robidas, his first NHL goal. The Canes break the shutout. And for Robidas, he'll keep that one forever.
Yeah, he will. It's a shame it wasn't in a win. Hi, everyone. It's the Canes Corner podcast, and we are brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. You should check them out for all of your exterior home improvement needs. There is a reason that we say that these games are really hard to play. We don't say that just to say it. These games are hard to play. Detroit is still fighting for a playoff spot. Probably not going to get it, but they're still viable. So they played with a little bit of a different level of desperation. Carolina's coming off an emotional game against the Capitals, one in which they also clinched a playoff spot. So you've got that working. And today, a team playing out the string, completely decimated by injuries, that has lost 10 in a row. Hurricanes coming off the game in Detroit last night, playing with a slightly makeshift lineup, but that's not the excuse for the game tonight. And you really got beaten by a goaltender and a Hall of Famer. So, but these games are just hard to play. It is difficult at times, especially after something like a playoff clinching win. Again, the way Washington, that whole game played out, mattered. These games have just become difficult to play. You have to get yourself to an emotional place. And even though Carolina had a lot of scoring chances in Detroit, only got 3 goals, gave up a couple of bad ones, and played poorly defensively, and that's really been the problem for Carolina the last 2 nights. A similar thing happened tonight. Man, the Hurricanes had more than enough chances to score. I mean, generating offense wasn't the issue. The issue tonight was Jeremy Swayman. And then, of course, at the other end, the issue was David Pastrnak being, David Pastrnak. But really, Carolina's top line got beat bad, and Carolina's top defensive pairing got beat worse. Happens. So not going to lose my mind over this game. I do think that Carolina does need to regain the edge that they had against Washington and bring that edge to the game in Buffalo, because I'm telling you, the Buffalo Sabres are not to be trifled with right now. They are beating all of the top teams. I kid you not. If you want, we could go find out who Buffalo has beaten over the last several weeks. But Buffalo ain't messing around. They beat Tampa tonight. I guess the game was in overtime. I don't know. Doesn't say overtime. They beat Tampa tonight. Beat the Senators the other night. Buffalo's won 3 in a row. They beat the Capitals the game before that. They actually have beaten the Senators twice. They won in Winnipeg. Like, I ain't joking. The Sabres are here to beat you, and they are playing completely loose. So this is not going to be an easy game Tuesday. Then you go to Washington on Thursday. Going to have to regain some sort of an edge over the next couple of games. You come home, Rangers and Toronto back-to-back. Then you get a couple of days off before you play Montreal and Ottawa back-to-back. The Hurricanes want to wrap up the 2nd seed in the Metro. Going to have to find 3 points here. Now, It shouldn't be that hard to find 3 points in their last 6 games. Like, I'm not even joking. Shouldn't be that hard. But you're going to have to play better defensively than you played tonight. Going to have to get better goaltending than you got tonight and last night. So therein lies all of the problems that we're dealing with. But again, I am not going to say tonight is a sign that it's all falling apart. Because for me, it was about just not necessarily having that mental edge. All right, let's get into a couple of things about the game. We're not going to be here a ton tonight because I know all of you, and when I say all of you, I mean me, do want to catch the second half of Duke Houston. By the way, Duke with a 6-point lead, I believe, at the half. And Florida beat Auburn. So Florida and whoever in the national championship game. I played the extended version of the Morgan Geekie goal that made it 1-0 late on in the first period. And when Trip Tracy said that was an oh-no goal, he was right. Freddie wasn't right. That was a bad goal to allow, a really bad goal to allow. Brent Burns allowed Frederik Andersen to see the shot. That shot should never go, but it went. So 1-0, and then a little burst of energy from Boston, who was good in the first period, but not great. And that burst of energy allowed a pretty long shift in Carolina's end after the goal, and Geekie, Lindholm, Pastrnak, too much. Lindholm in front. Carolina couldn't get the puck out of their own end. And they had opportunities. Tyson Jost was missing a stick at one point. And at that point, that second goal goes in, just before the end of the period. Those goals came 58 seconds apart. And it reminded us of yesterday, which that happened twice. So Carolina's in a little bit of a rut, right? Where maybe you sag a little bit after giving up the goal. There are moments where Carolina should have gotten energy out of the yesterday in Detroit, and it went the other way. So, yeah, to me, that would be a little bit of a concern, except that I actually don't know that I apply any importance really to tonight's game. Only there were 2 things about the game that I am worried about, and we'll get to those in a minute. But really quick to go through the goals, and we'll talk. We already went through the first 2. First goal definitely on Freddie. Second goal not on Freddie, just a scramble. More about the guys in front of him. Third goal. See, this is to me where, like, I'm not a fan of replay, but I don't know. I don't know if replay, the way they are going to use it, would ever be able to fix this. There is 0 chance that Sebastian Aho wasn't hooked down by Elias Lindholm, which allowed the David Pastrnak scoring play. So Aho is going to defend him, certainly going to be in position to make it more difficult. But Lindholm hooks him down from behind. I don't understand why that's not a call. Now, maybe you can't hook a guy who doesn't have the puck. Well, okay. Well, then it's interference. It's one or the other. It's 100% a penalty. And considering that Aho went to the box for far less of a hook or a slash, I think they called it a slash, far less of a penalty than that. Yeah, to me, that's a call you have to make, especially when it leads to a scoring chance. But they didn't call it, and it's a bad goal. So with all that stuff that happened before the play, that's just a terrible goal to allow for Andersen. So now, of the 3 goals that have gone in, 2 of them are bad. The fourth goal was just stupid. Jaccob Slavin actually makes a good play on a pass to deflect it. It was a geeky kind of an aerial pass to Pastrnak, who was behind Slavin. Slavin gets a stick on it, deflects it. Pastrnak is just better and bats it out of the air over the blocker side of Andersen and in for 4-0. And the fifth goal was, I thought Mark Jankowski probably could have played it better. He was a little bit passive, and Burns had Mason Lohrei behind him, didn't want to allow the backdoor pass, would have been an easy tap in. They just didn't get enough out of Jankowski on that play. So is what it is. Pastrnak makes an elite deke, and he slides it in around Andersen. That's 5. But look, they got big boy. Top line got big boy tonight. Aho, Jarvis, and Blake. Although Jarvis and Blake had more moments than Aho did, good moments. I think Jarvis and Blake had maybe for the first period and a half had some pretty good moments. It was not a great game for Sebastian Aho. It was not a great game for Jaccob Slavin. And I think it's reflected in the numbers. Aho was a -3. He was on the ice for the first 3 Bruins goals. Slavin and Burns were on the ice for all of them. All of them. Wow. I'll bet you Jaccob Slavin has never been a -5. Ever. Anywhere. -5. Wow. Anyway, so yeah, that's Carolina's. But I've had these conversations with some people that don't believe that the Hurricanes need size. And it's nights like this that I believe that the head coach is on the plane coming back from Boston, and it's nights like this where the head coach is going, I just don't know if I can send out Aho, Jarvis, and Blake together in a playoff series because this is what could happen. Now, having just said that, I'm really not that worried about it, but I know the head coach is thinking about it. That line has played too well. We just watched them play Washington, and they dominated Washington. So before we lose it, let's just remember that they have played great hockey and created tons of chances over the last, really, 2 months. So pump the brakes on any doubts that you may have over Blake, Jarvis, and Aho. But I'm telling you, the head coach is thinking about it. So the 2 things that I am concerned about tonight. The first is, hey, this was the first time in his last 8 starts that Freddie Andersen was no good. He had won 7 in a row, but the start before that, he was excellent against Edmonton, even in a loss. And tonight was the first time he wasn't any good. So for me, the next Andersen start, be it, I know Trip Tracy mentioned it on the broadcast. He said it to me in the pregame. I mean, the next start could be Tuesday in Buffalo. But if it's not Tuesday in Buffalo, it's going to be Thursday in Washington. The next start for Andersen, to me, is a big one because we are running out of runway between now and the end of the season. We can't go into the postseason with 2 goalies not playing well. You got to have at least one. And now I'm going to say this, and you're going to think I'm crazy. It might not matter how they're playing at the end of the regular season, since the playoffs are a completely different animal. I think all bets are off when you get to the postseason anyway, but the preference would be them playing well going in, right? Last year, Andersen was playing great going into the playoffs and started the playoffs off playing really well. Then he got worn down. Game fell. And Kochetkov wasn't good enough to be more of an option. So I am concerned, based on tonight, what I saw from Andersen, but I will not be concerned as long as he plays well, whether it's in Buffalo or Washington. I agree with Tripp. I would make his next start Tuesday in Buffalo and then come back with Kochetkov against the Capitals on Thursday in D.C. I also think that if you go Andersen in what is essentially game 77, you get him in 79, you can actually give him a few days, almost a week rest before the playoffs begin. So you could give Andersen just 2 more starts. Or you can start him in game 81 if you want. And have him start the first game of the playoffs. Game 81 would be Wednesday in Montreal. Playoffs for Carolina is probably going to begin Sunday. It's my guess. And if it's not Sunday, it would be Monday. I doubt Carolina is going to be asked to play Thursday, Saturday. I think at the earliest it would be Thursday, Sunday. Could be Thursday, Monday. The other thing I'm concerned about is the potential injury to Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Let's be fair to KK. It's not been a great year. It's been an okay year. I think there have been times where he has looked really good, and there have been times where he has looked somewhat lost. And if you are one who is pro Jesperi Kotkaniemi, I'm not criticizing you or anything. I think that this is entirely on him. There is a way that he needs to play to be effective. And when he strays from that, he becomes ineffective. And unfortunately, I think it impacts the entirety of his game. I think it impacts him defensively. He needs to be a north-south player. He needs to be very direct. He needs to be physical. He needs to get to the front of the net. And stop worrying about being a setup guy. I've said this before about KK. When he was playing, whether it was last year or the year before or the year before that, when he had Andre on one side and Necas on the other, all he had to do was just be physical and solid, win some faceoffs, take up some space, because those guys are going to do the scoring, and you're going to get points by accident. And you have a good shot, and use it. And Kotkaniemi, over the last 2 months, hasn't. 22 games now? Let me get it. 23 games now without a goal, and only 5 assists in that span. He's been playing, but now he's hurt. He got hurt tonight. He only played like the first 32. He's only available for the first 32 minutes. I think for about the 8-minute mark on, he was gone. So Rod said after the game, we'll see. He'll get checked out tomorrow, meaning Sunday. Hopefully he'll be okay. Because regardless of what you think of Kotkaniemi, the Hurricanes need him down the middle. Even if he's playing as a fourth-line center, which, I mean, ultimately he may end up being. I hope not, because they really need him to be in a top 9 role, because he has that ability when he's playing well to impact the game at both ends. But if he's hurt, then that makes Mark Jankowski your third center. If it's Aho, Staal, Jankowski, or it's Roslovic. But like I said in years past, I said it about Jack Drury last year, and we still thought maybe Carolina could overcome it, but they couldn't against the Rangers. Jack Roslovic ain't winning. You're not winning enough postseason games if Jack Roslovic is playing center for you in your top 9, or certainly not in your top 6. Gosh, you get bludgeoned. So this to me is a concern for Carolina. Now, it was a concern anyway, because I view Kotkaniemi as really a third center, not even a second center. To me, he's a third. And without him, that's either Roslovic or Jankowski. It's a bit of a tough ask, I believe. So hopefully he'll be okay. It won't be too serious, and he'll be able to get back on the ice pretty soon. Speaking of which, very quickly, the Hurricanes need Andrei Svechnikov to get back on the ice and play, because the difference between Svechnikov and Staal, and they've both been held out more precautionary, but they wouldn't be holding Andre out if it wasn't a problem. Staal, I think they're just allowing him some time to he's got some bumps and bruises, allowing him some time to heal up. And I think it will benefit him. He needs like one game just to kick the rust off, and then he'll be fine. His is not a skill game anyway, right? So they need that. They need him just to play once before the playoffs. But Andre, and I talked to the head coach about this today, Andre needs to find his game. He needs to figure this out. And it's going to be hard to, honestly, it's going to be hard for the Hurricanes to win more than a series without some kind of contribution from Andrei Svechnikov, which they really haven't gotten. Again, I think the head coach is being pretty open about it. So we'll see what happens with Andre, but they need him back. They need him to get back and to get his game right heading into the playoffs. Now, I don't think Andre will ever not be in the lineup as long as he's healthy and good enough to go. He will not be a healthy extra. As somebody said to me tonight on Twitter, well, Kotkaniemi might be a healthy extra. I don't really think so. I think no matter how you stacked it, Kotkaniemi is one of Carolina's 12 best forwards. So, I just don't see him not being in the lineup. Now, he might be, on a fourth line, but I think Kotkaniemi will be in the lineup if he's healthy. We'll see what happens when William Carrier comes back. Remember, you got Carrier still out of the lineup, too. So, Justin Robidas, congratulations, your first NHL goal. I think it was very cool to see that. And I think the kid can play. He is a fourth, probably ends up being on a fourth line, but no reason why somebody on your fourth line can't also score goals. So good for him. Showed good hands, a quick release. We saw that on the assist in Detroit. So good for him. He's got 2 games and 2 points in the NHL. All right. Maybe you could tell that to Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Andrei Svechnikov. And we're going to wrap it up right there. But I am concerned about Andersen. I am concerned about my concern about Andersen is what happens with his next start. We're already concerned about Kochetkov, and I'm concerned about the health of Jesperi Kotkaniemi, who is a player that Carolina needs. All right, we're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it is for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. Real quick before we jump out, we all know about what's going on in the Metro, in the Atlantic. Toronto is the only team winning right now. They have a 4-point lead over Tampa, and maybe you don't want to play Ottawa. Maybe Toronto's going to win that division to their own detriment because Ottawa is on fire. So it's Toronto, Tampa, Florida, who has now gone winless in 4 straight. Ottawa is going to end up being wild card 1. Montreal has a 4-point lead over the Rangers, 5 over Columbus and Detroit, 6 over the Islanders. So I think it's going to end up being Ottawa and Montreal for the 2 wild card spots. Out west, crazy, but if the Kings don't catch the Golden Knights, we're going to see Edmonton and LA for the 4th straight year in the first round of the playoffs. No joke. 4th straight year of the first round of the playoffs. That's something that is likely going to happen. All right. We'll see everybody after the Canes and the Sabres on Tuesday night. Appreciate all of you for hanging out. Blue Devils with a 5-point lead. Go Duke.